Saturday Student Workshops, Part 20, whatever. Sophie's got a model in here, needs some help with lighting. We're going to talk a little bit about rigor in process, the steps you have to go through to troubleshoot things. So we have light coming in through window. Let's do a quick render and see what's going on. Whoops. I should not have killed the session, but who knows? Let's see. Yeah, it's still working. So one of the things you're going to notice is that 2500 by 1406. That's a very large buffer size. So what I might do temporarily to cut down this amount of rendering work is go into the asset editor, go into option settings, little gearbox there. Set render output. Let's go back to the 800 pixels by 450. And close this, and let's run a quick render again. So you uncheck the teapot and then check it again. So I'm not seeing the light pattern that I see on the SketchUp scene. Okay, so let's try to do some troubleshooting and see what's going on. I'm going to add a scene and call this perspective. I'm going to add the sun prefix as we did before. Perspective T1, troubleshooting 1. What? Zoom out. Let's just see what we have for settings. So I'm going to zoom to the extent of the model. Okay. We've got all the stuff in space. So this could interfere with what's going on. So let's, for now, let's just delete it. We imagine there's an instance of it. There are two edges that we probably don't need. And let's talk about, so we have light coming from this direction. Shadows are telling us at 5:30 a.m. somewhere in Alaska that, okay, let's set UTC to something reasonable. (12 p.m.) Not always clear how these should be generating some shadows. I'm going to pause this for a second until I resolve the sunlight situation, and then I'll explain what we did. So for now I've set UTC equal to 15. Universal time we're going to have a top-down view of the model. 12 p.m. It's not quite perpendicular to south, but that's okay. So that's a 12 p.m. shadow. Normally it's just about opposite to north. Let's create. Let's save a scene. We're doing sun study, so I'll rename this to sun site plan work. So I'm going to go back to my perspective. Let's see if we can change the light to bring in some sunlight. And we're looking at morning. This is pretty good. So we're going to say create a new perspective. Sun perspective 9 a.m. UTC 15. And I'm going to save this file in my handouts before we have a crash. Saturday student workshops. and with the suffix of post. That's saved. Let's look at some of the light settings. We've got sunlight at 20, a rectangle light, and a spot. Then assuming let's have a look at the window element. There's a glass panel. I'm going to set the view to hide the rest of the model. So I'm modifying the glass panel. There's 5 entities. I'm going to make sure that vray materials is a transparent glass. Translucent glass blue. Let's look at the properties of it, and let's expand. Make sure the opacity is all the way, yeah. Okay. Back to material list, right click, and let's just say apply to selection. Close it. Close that component. Close that component. Save the file. Render it. There's this white band going across there. I'm not seeing the pattern of light on the floor. Yeah, so this looks about the same. Let's check a couple things. See what layers, just in case. Update the scene. Let's go back to our work view. And examine set hide rest of model. Might as well update that scene. So let's see what it is that we have. Okay. There's a grid that's on a layer called grid. I'm not sure what that grid is doing. Let's double click the grid. Now this is something else. That's our that is a vray rectangle light on the ambient plane. Lighting ambient plane. Grid has nothing on it, so I'm going to remove it. Just going to delete it. guide. Oh, these are really just a group of guides, aren't they? Well, let's just hide the layer, the grid layer. Grid isn't doing anything for us. Light layer. Lighting ambient plane. Let's hide that and see what that removes. Let's change face style to X-ray and see if we can reveal. Okay, so we have a group of spots, we think. Let's double click to see if in fact I highlighted that. There are spots. They're on layer 0, so I'm going to create a layer for them. Lighting. Spotlights. Let's hide the spotlights. Lighting spotlights is hidden, but we still have another group in this model. We'll create another layer for it. Lighting spots duplicate. And place that group on that layer and turn off the visibility of that layer. So if we turn on lighting spots lights, maybe I didn't get it that time. Lighting spots duplicate. And ambient plane. Let me double click the ambient plane. Close it. Go back to my perspective. This time I'm going to hide everything but natural sunlight. Ambient plane, duplicate lights. And save that as a separate scene. Rename it. Sun. Perspective sun only. Okay, let's save the model. And let's try to render this. So all we have is natural light. No light coming in. Drastic measures. Get rid of the glass. Close component. Try again. Okay, so there's a problem with the material somehow. Because if we delete the glass panel, we have nothing, whatever the material is of the glass door, no good. Removing that glass panel, close this component, close component, close. We've got multiple layers of nesting here. I'm going to save the model again. And re-send that, re-rendering that image. Sun appears to be very hot. Probably a symptom. Well, sun intensity is not terribly, not unreasonable. Let's close that. So we're addressing issues of why we're not getting natural light. You gotta solve one problem at a time. What I'm going to do is close this, modify the window component, and start to put in glass panels with vray materials that we know are transparent. So I'm going to go back into this materials, translucent glass blue, opacity. Let's make it completely transparent. This way it's completely opaque. This way it's completely transparent. Right click, apply the selection. Close that. Double click that and make it a component. Glass window vray. Glass panel, let's call it. Okay. Close this component. Nothing coming through. Translucent glass blue, there's something wrong with that. Quick settings. Diffuse color. No? Reflection. Off. Hi. Opacity is correct. Let's close this. Close this component. I'm not getting sun. Now we're getting it there. Close. Close. That's the only thing that's letting sun in. I think I've fixed it. This is half hour into it. We'll have to compare notes. Let's save this file. There's nothing inside this window, inside the door glazing. I'm going to pause this because there's something basically wrong with the glass material and I haven't figured it out yet. I finally simply applied translucent glass to the window. The door still doesn't have anything in it, but at least we can proceed here. So this is going to render. Remember, all the artificial light layers are off. And let's see what we get. So I'll pause this and I'll pick it up again when this is done rendering. Okay, we've resolved the natural light situation. Let's save this image. Sophie Well, 6 or 7, right? Natural light. Then we need to apply that to the door, but we're okay for now. Next step, let's maybe soften the intensity of the natural light and add artificial light.